this Independence Day, how do you make yourself more independent? Your exams are around the corner, and whenever such a competitive exam is in your head and is going to determine your success or failure for the next one entire year, it becomes all the more important to make sure that when you are going in and writing the examination, you not only feel more confident and independent, but you are actually more confident and independent. In order to explain this, I want to talk about number one, what exactly is a student required to do when he's preparing for a competitive examination like RBI or UPSC, such heavy examinations. And when we have understood, okay, these are the things that we are required to do, and this is the amount of time that we have to spend on preparing for this examination, on revising, on reading the same content again and again, then we will go forward and understand the importance of cheat sheets to figure out how they can reduce the amount of time that you spend on preparing, revising, and how you can train your brain to recall more and thus find success faster. So let's move forward. First of all, let's try and understand as a student what all are you required to do. When we talk about current affairs for the upcoming RBI examination, Spotlight, RBI 247, PIB 247, budget, survey, government schemes, annual reports, and various other small reports. This is the entire culmination of all the type of current affairs that you have to do, no matter how far or near you are to your examination. This is something that cannot be skipped at all. If I talk about Spotlight, 200 to 300 pages per month, and if a minimum of 4 months you're covering, that means 800 pages minimum. Similarly, PIB 247, 600 pages, RBI 247, 600 pages, budget, survey, and various other reports, 300 pages, government schemes, because they're so important, so separately 400 pages, and about 1500 pages of the syllabus. Now, let's assume that because we are so close to the examination, we are not focusing on phase 2, even if you're required to cover just this, other than quant, reasoning, and English, it comes out to be somewhere around 2000 pages easily. Therefore, the problem now is not just covering these 2000 pages, the problem is all the more remembering and recalling the content that you've read in these 2000 pages. A lot of students, including myself, have been talking about revision, but there is a method of revision that gives better results. Let's try and understand that in a in a small span of time. So we understand that covering 2000 pages, number one, and then recalling them at the right time in the examination, number two, is a challenge. And upon this, you also have to prepare and practice questions, which is a minimum of 2000. You have to do that. And my brain or your brain does not have the potential. Nobody's brain, other than probably Einstein's, has the potential of remembering all of this in a small span of time of 20-25 days. Therefore, how do you make sure that you are able to unlock that power of your brain so that you can recall these at the right time, you can recall it correctly, you can reduce your mistakes that you're making in recalling the facts and coming to the conclusion in the questions that you get in the examination, and automatically you are feeling more independent, you're feeling more confident. So what is it exactly that we should be doing and we can do in the remaining time that we have? Cheat sheets is something that works wonderfully. Cheat sheets result in an effective recall system, but cheat sheets of any random kind will not help you. Of a specific certain kind only will help you. I will talk about that specific kind as well in the next 5 minutes. And when you have that effective recall, automatically you feel mentally more free. There are two types of students that I will find here, that you will also find yourself amidst. Either you are the student type 1 or you are the student type 2. Now, what is the difference? Student type 1 is also or can also be successful, given that he spends a lot of time on doing what I'm going to explain, and student 2 can also be successful or can also be a failure. Depends upon how do you cover it. So student number 1 tries to cover the syllabus first of all. When he's done with the syllabus, he practices questions. When I'm talking about syllabus, I'm limiting myself to phase 1 syllabus in current affairs. So about 2000 pages of current affairs, plus quant reasoning and English, probably you're trying to learn only through practice questions. When you're done with first cycle of practice questions, then you start revising everything that you've read. You revise everything once again. In order to revise 2000 pages, once you've read them once, will take about half the time. If you've taken probably 1 month to cover all the current affairs, you'll probably take 15 days to revise it once more. Okay. Then simultaneously you try and practice even more questions, and then you revise more. You revise once again. Now there's nothing wrong with this cycle, but very often, and a lot of students right now might be feeling it, it results in a feeling of burnout, results in a feeling of exhaustion, where you are exhausted of doing the same thing again and again. It's a lot of boredom involved, there's a lot of monotony, and you feel that ये तो सब पढ़ लिया है मैंने, फिर भी क्यों याद नहीं हो रहा है, क्यों मैं अपने एग्जाम में, अपने मॉक्स में परफॉर्म नहीं कर पा रहा हूँ, क्यों बहुत सारी चीज़ें मैं भूल जाता हूँ, या फिर नए नए टाइप के क्वेश्चंस मुझे सामने दिखते हैं दैट आई एक्चुअली प्रॉब्ली रेड इन माय करंट अफेयर्स नोट्स. तो ये सारे प्रॉब्लम्स इंफॉर्मेशन गैदरिंग की नहीं है, ये सारी प्रॉब्लम्स मेंटल एग्जॉस्शन की हैं. बिकॉज योर माइंड इज सो स्टफ्ड विद ऑल दिस कंटेंट, it is not able to pick out the right stuff at the right time when you actually want it to perform. मैंने recently notice किया था, I was in an examination and I felt 3 of my exams went very well, and on the last examination मैं सो के नहीं गया, अच्छा सा रात में लेट तक जगे रहे, सुबह फिर I was tired and I could actually feel my brain not performing, not responding. And I felt कि यार just because I'm mentally exhausted, I'm not able to recall whatever I had read. और उससे पहले जो 3 एग्जाम्स थे उसमें भी मैंने उतना ही पढ़ा था, but because I was not mentally exhausted, I could recall everything. So mental exhaustion can also come from stuffing your brain with a lot of content, okay, and stuffing your brain with the same content again and again and again. Now I'm not saying that you stop revising, but let's try and refine the entire process so that cheat sheets can help you. Now, it's very important for you to understand that these cheat sheets have to be your own, and they are not the same as short notes. Cheat sheets are even a shorter version of short notes, where you're just writing that keyword which can help you come to the right answer in the examination. You're just writing that fact that you might be able to recall in the final examination. You're not concerned about anything else at all. It is a very crisp, shorter version of short notes that is purely meant to compress all that you have read in one page. And believe me, stuff worth hundreds of pages can be compressed into a single page of cheat sheet as well. It just requires some practice and constantly doing it and actually feeling that you can do it. Let's come to student type 2. The student type 2 will also cover the syllabus first, will practice questions and will try and revise everything once again. But not in the first instance of covering the syllabus. You're not creating cheat sheets here. When you're revising everything in your notes, at that time, set up a system wherein you start creating cheat sheets. जिससे कि फर्स्ट रिविजन और सेकेंड रिविजन के बीच में जो गैप है वो बहुत ज़्यादा बड़ा हो जाए. मतलब फर्स्ट रिवीजन मुझे 15 दिन लगाता है, तो सेकेंड रिवीजन चीट शीट्स के थ्रू मुझे 7 दिन ना लगा के 2 ही दिन में मैं खत्म कर पाऊँ. So the amount of time that you have to spend on revising it once again reduces by a long margin just because of cheat sheets. Remember, cheat sheets are not possible to be created when you're reading anything for the first time. It's only possible when you're revising something and you've already read it. Because आपके दिमाग में एक already structure बना हुआ है. So when you're revising the same content, you start creating cheat sheets. What do you do in these cheat sheets? सबसे पहले आप ये 4 चीजें ही लिखने की कोशिश करोगे और कुछ नहीं लिखोगे. You will either write facts that you find, you will write pointers of content or information that you feel can be asked in the examination. You write formulas and shortcuts in case of content reasoning. Spotlight, current affairs जो हमने ऊपर डिस्कस किया था, phase 2 का syllabus, we are not concerned about it right now, and content reasoning. These are the only 4 things for which you have to create cheat sheets. ये भी ध्यान रखना है कि cheat sheet हर एक सब्जेक्ट की जरूरी नहीं है बनाना. If you feel that you don't need to revise the formulas or remember the formulas, you've already remembered it. आपकी माइंड में वो इंटरनलाइज हो चुका है, मेरे को याद करने की जरूरत नहीं है. For example, if I ask you the meaning of, let's say, opulence, हो सकता है ना पता हो बहुत सारे स्टूडेंट्स को, मुझे भी नहीं पता था, लेकिन जब मैंने पढ़ा और मैंने फिर उसका मीनिंग देखा तो मुझे लगा यार ये बहुत सिंपल है याद रखना, लग्जूरियस, एनीथिंग विच इज ग्रैंड एंड लग्जूरियस। अब मुझे कहीं पर भी लिखने की जरूरत नहीं है, चीट शीट बना के लिखने की जरूरत नहीं है द मीनिंग ऑफ ऑपुलेंस। आई हैव ऑलरेडी इंटरनलाइज्ड इट, आई कैन प्रॉब्ली यूज इट वेरेवर आई वांट। कुछ टाइम पहले एक सीरीज आई थी जहाँ पे फ्लैबरगैस्टेड वर्ड बहुत यूज किया था इन अ फनी वे, सो आई ऑल्सो गूगल दैट एंड सिंस देन आई हैव used it multiple times subconsciously because I have internalized it. That is the objective of cheat sheet. Whatever has not yet been internalized and you feel these facts, these pointers, you might forget in the examination, start writing those down. For a sample, for an understanding, I have provided some of my own cheat sheets that I've created recently for you guys. वो cheat sheets मैंने नीचे description में डाल दी हैं, एक form है, you just have to fill that form. उन चीट शीट से आपको आइडिया लग जाएगा कि यार इस तरह से मुझे क्रिएट करना है या मैं क्रिएट कर सकता हूं, एंड दैट ऑल्सो विल हेल्प यू इन क्रिएटिंग योर ओन चीट शीट्स। रिमेंबर, आई डोंट वांट यू टू बी स्पून फेड बिकॉज आई नो फॉर अ फैक्ट दैट चीट शीट्स हैव टू बी योर ओन, हैव टू बी मेड बाय यू। आई एम जस्ट प्रोवाइडिंग यू सम एग्जांपल्स of cheat sheets that I have created for you guys that can add on to your preparation and that can also help you create your own cheat sheets. Okay, तो आपने चीट शीट बनाई, नाउ उस चीट शीट के बेसिस पे रिवीजन हो गया, रिवीजन के साथ साथ ही चीट शीट बना ली मैंने, इसके बेसिस पे मैंने कुछ प्रैक्टिस क्वेश्चंस फिर से लगाए और मुझे उन प्रैक्टिस क्वेश्चंस में कोई नई लर्निंग मिली, बिकॉज व्हेनेवर यू टेक मोर प्रैक्टिस टेस्ट you will of course obviously be gaining some new knowledge. This new learning has to be added to your cheat sheets. This is very important because बहुत सारे स्टूडेंट्स फोन करके पूछते हैं कि सर जो मैंने प्रैक्टिस क्वेश्चंस अभी लगाए हैं शुड आई अटेम्प्ट देम अगेन या फिर वो टाइम वेस्ट है। मैं उनको बोलता हूँ टाइम वेस्ट है, इन दैट सेम अमाउंट ऑफ टाइम यू कैन प्रैक्टिस मोर क्वेश्चंस, व्हाई नॉट डू दैट। तो उनका डाउट होता है सर जो मैंने प्रैक्टिस किए थे मुझे याद नहीं है कि उसमें से कितना कंटेंट मैं इंटरनलाइज कर चुका हूं या नहीं किया है। The way to actually surpass that problem is, or to solve that problem is, to convert those practice questions, the information that you find there relevant, to add it to your cheat sheets. Okay, और cheat sheets याद रखना हमेशा subject wise और chapter wise होना जरूरी है, तभी वो काम आएगी, otherwise काम नहीं आएगी। Using these cheat sheets, you revise once more. You pick up the original revision content, original content as well, and revise that along with your cheat sheets to make sure कि कोई ऐसा डेटा, ऐसा फैक्ट, ऐसी इंफॉर्मेशन ना हो जो मैंने चीट शीट में नहीं डाली है, जो मुझे अभी भी रेलेवेंट लग रही है, तो उसको भी उठा लिया जाए साथ में। फिर से रिवाइज किया, उस रिविजन के बेसिस पे चीट शीट को रिफाइन भी कर सकते हो। यू कैन प्रॉब्ली रिमूव सम डेटा इफ यू फील कि ये इंटरनलाइज हो चुका है, जैसे कि 7.2% growth rate of India, GDP of India forecast given by all the organizations, whether it is RBI or anyone else. ये इंटरनलाइज हो गया, ये अब नहीं भूलोगे, तो ये चीट शीट में रखने का कोई पॉइंट नहीं है, तो उसको हटा भी दोगे तो चलेगा। सो इधर यू कैन इरेज इट इफ यू मेकिंग इट यूजिंग अ पेंसिल, या फिर उसको काट भी सकते हो कि यार ये अपने ब्रेन से यहाँ से हटाओ बिकॉज मेरी परमानेंट मेमोरी में ऑलरेडी वो जा चुका है। ओके, इस तरह से चीट शीट को रिफाइन करते जाओगे एंड यू स्टार्ट रिपीटिंग द सेम साइकिल। और क्वेश्चंस प्रैक्टिस किए, एड ऑन इंफॉर्मेशन टू योर चीट शीट, फिर से रिवाइज किया, फिर से रिफाइन किया अपनी चीट शीट को। अल्टीमेटली व्हेन यू आर गोइंग इन फॉर द एग्जामिनेशन, जब बाहर खड़े हो, यू विल फील मोर कॉन्फिडेंट बिकॉज यू वुड देन हैव अंडरस्टूड कि क्या क्या मैं इंटरनलाइज कर चुका हूँ, जो मुझे फिर से पढ़ने की जरूरत नहीं है। तो मेरे रियलाइज होगा बहुत छोटा ही कॉन्टेंट है जो एक्चुअली फिर से पढ़ने की जरूरत है, and that automatically gives you more freedom, more independence, and makes you feel less exhausted. और mental exhaustion जब कम होता है ना, तो automatically you will feel more powerful, और वो एग्जाम में रिजल्ट में भी दिखेगा, कुछ नहीं तो 10 नंबर at least you will be able to move ahead of your competition. Okay, so this is how on Independence Day you can use something like a cheat sheet in order to recall better, in order to feel more independent, in order to feel more in control of your examination and be able to perform better as well. That brings me to the end of this session. I hope it was useful. I hope you learned something new, and I'm very sure that by using this technique, by creating cheat sheets, इवन दो यू हैव लेस टाइम, अभी भी बना सकते हो बैठ के थोड़ा थोड़ा सा. यू विल बी एबल टू मूव मोर इन कंट्रोल ऑफ योर अपकमिंग एग्जामिनेशन. याद रखना है, हर एक चीज की चीट शीट बनाने की जरूरत नहीं है. डोंट सिट डाउन एंड स्टार्ट क्रिएटिंग नोट्स फॉर एवरीथिंग दैट यू आर रीडिंग. इट विल बी अ डिजास्टर बिकॉज यू डोंट हैव दैट मच टाइम. चीट शीट बस उन्हीं चीजों की बनानी है जैसे कि फैक्ट्स, जो कि आपको एंड में याद करने में या रिकॉल करने में या फिर एक जगह पे रखने में प्रॉब्लम होती है. ऑल द बेस्ट, टेक केयर, बाय बाय, जय हिंद.